So hi, everybody. Thanks for your patience. I'm Michelle Cades, the president of Fairfax County SEPTA. We are delighted to have you join us for our general membership meeting this evening. I'm doing a quick look to see that we have enough members to be quorum. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, we're good. All right, we can now officially start our meeting. Thank you. So we're changing things up a little bit this evening, and we are delighted to start our meeting with a special education update from Michelle Boyd, Mike Bloom, and Jane Strong, who are here. They are going to spend about 30 minutes giving us any updates or new information, depending on timing. If we can take some questions, we will try to take some questions through our chat. And then we will jump into the rest of our business meeting. So without any further ado, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much, Ms. Cades. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to join you. My name is Michelle Boyd, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Special Services for Fairfax County Public Schools. I had the great pleasure to join a phenomenal team here at the end of September in 2021. So we've worked closely together as we've navigated the pandemic. So those few months feel like we've been here a long time, a couple of years, and I've had the opportunity to work very closely with Michelle and the leadership team. And we wanted to take an opportunity to just spend a few moments with you, providing you with some special education updates, and also give you an opportunity to ask some questions of us. Mike and Jane will introduce themselves, and then we'll just begin. Jane, would you like to go first with introductions?
Certainly. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jane Strong, Director for Special Education Procedural Support.
And I'm Mike Bloom, and I'm the Director of Special Education Instruction.
So this evening, we want to provide you with a few updates. We first want to start with some updates regarding summer programming. And we use the phrase summer programming loosely because some of the programming that's listed under our summer options can also be options and supports that are implemented in other parts of the school year. So Dr. Strong is going to give us an overview or an update of where we are relative to special education recovery services. And then Mr. Bloom is going to provide us with an update regarding extended school year. And I will follow with an update regarding our expanded summer school offering. So this time I will turn it over first to Dr. Strong regarding special education recovery service.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. So I'm happy to give you all an update on where we are with planning and beginning the implementation of recovery services for our learners with disabilities. So already there are IEP teams that have gone through the analysis of the data and determined students as in need of a recovery program. And some recovery services are happening as we speak throughout the week, sometimes after school, sometimes squeezing it in on a Monday, depending on the school. And the teachers and administrators in my office staff, like the procedural support liaisons, have assisted each school with doing a collaborative learning team meeting to ensure that they are taking a look at every student on every special education teacher's caseload and determining what they recommend as a possible starting point for a conversation with parents about recovery services. And then IEP meetings happen. There's still IEP meetings ongoing. You know, this is a prime time of the year when annual IEP meetings are happening. So we are still seeing more and more IEPs being written and discussed, and recovery services being. We are just, pardon me, about to give out some more information to our teachers and our administrators. We've been giving updates really for the last several months, but we are further along now with our summer academy programming. And so we are assisting teachers with individualizing any program for recovery that a student may need for recovery. So as you'll hear from Mr. Bloom, there is also, of course, as there is every year, opportunities for extended school year. This year, there is also the opportunity for recovery. And we're making sure that our teachers and administrators understand it's not an either or. As you all know, many of you have looked into and heard presentations about ESY and recovery and the difference. And so some students may be in need of ESY, and then some students may need both ESY and recovery. And there may be some students who only come and get a recovery service program for this summer. So we will be co-locating as many recovery services as we are able to, given space, at our locations where extended school year programs happen. And you know that there are schools throughout the division where ESY is planned. And but there are some opportunities for recovery services to also happen on a limited basis at base schools. So we're working to get those details worked out as case by case as IEP teams consider recovery. In addition to the dates of ESY, there's also an additional opportunity past the ESY dates for recovery services to happen later on into the summer. So we know from talking with our department chairs and our lead teachers and administrators that they are looking very hard at what are the services in recovery that in a recovery program that our students need. And it's an ongoing process. We are continuing every day to refine our planning and meet the needs of our students. And I expect that will continue. It's possible that some students may not be able to get all of their recovery needs met over the summer recovery session as well. And so we don't rule out the idea that some recovery services could be implemented also next year or next school year. So I think I have covered everything. I want to make, I guess one thing popped in my mind that we will provide transportation. And there are certain amounts of time that we can add recovery service on top of an ESY session. So you may be thinking, you know, that's a long day to do ESY and recovery, but it is possible. And so we're working on those details with our transportation offerings and working on how to have all of those programs happen. We want as many students to receive recovery as may need it as much as they can this summer. So I think that covers it for now for recovery.
Thanks, Dr. Strong. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about ESY services. And I know in previous years, the information has been posted much earlier than it has been posted this spring regarding ESY services. But one of the reasons why there was a little bit of a delay is due to the number of summer programs that are being held in all of our schools this summer. And we've had to work very closely with our facilities team and with transportation and of course our Office of Special Education Instruction who organize ESY services just to make sure that the amount of space that was needed within individual buildings was adequate for the numbers of students that we expect to be able to serve this summer. But we're happy to announce that our ESY webpage is up and running on our public website. If you go to the FCPS webpage and you do a search for either ESY or you can type in extended school year, you'll be able to see the direct link to the webpage that describes in detail the feeder schools and the sites where we're going to be holding ESY services for this summer. So just as a brief overview, for our elementary program, for our class-based program, the dates are going to begin for students on June 28th, and ESY will run, again, for our class-based students through July 23rd. We're targeting 13 elementary schools for this summer for ESY services. And for transportation purposes, we always stagger half of the sites with an earlier start time for students, and then the other half for a little bit later start time. So for this year, our elementary students will be coming in 5 days a week for 3 hours a day, and the staggered times, and all of this is on the website, will run the first session from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then the other half of the schools will begin at 9:45 a.m. and will run through 12:45 p.m. And so again, there'll be 13 elementary sites. We do have one site that's dedicated to students who are part of our deaf, hard of hearing population. And that particular site for this summer will be North Springfield Elementary School. And I won't go and read off the list of 13 sites, but if you go to that website, you'll be able to see the specific sites. And then if you click on each of the sites, depending on where your base school is, where your child currently attends school, you'll be able to see which one of those 13 sites your child will feed to for this summer during ESY. For our secondary programming, again, the dates are going to remain the same. So we're running our class-based program from June 28th through July 23rd. And the secondary program is going to be a 4-hour program. And our 3 secondary sites, since it's a short list, I can let you know, will be at Franklin Middle School, Jackson Middle School, and Key Middle School. And for our deaf, hard of hearing students, Jackson Middle School will be the feeder school for them. Again, it's going to be 4 hours, but there's no staggered time for secondary students. All of our class-based programming for secondary will run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for those schools. The other important thing to realize is, although I've mentioned our class-based program and our in-person schools that'll be participating and providing ESY services, we're also providing a virtual option. I know IEP teams have been meeting and continue to meet and will meet through the end of this school year to make some decisions regarding ESY. And there are going to be virtual options for both our elementary program and our secondary program for ESY. So there will be an option for either in-person or virtual. So in addition to our elementary and our secondary programs, we also have some center programs that will run their own ESY programs during the summer. These include Burke School, Quander Road, and Cedar Lane, our 2 high school public day programs, and then Key Center and Kilmer Center. And for all 5 of those specific programs, ESY services will run for 3 hours. And again, the website will be able to tell you the specific times for each of those sites. The programs will begin during either July 6th through the July 23rd, and that will be for Burke School, Quander, and Cedar Lane. And then they're going to start a little bit earlier, a week earlier, for both Key and Kilmer Center, where ESY services will begin June 28th, the end of June, through July 23rd. So again, those are for our 5 center programs. And again, you can find more information on the bell schedules for those sites on the ESY site on the public webpage. The other things that I wanted to mention was that every summer we provide programming for our preschool autism classrooms. And so we will again be offering PAC services for this summer. And similar to what's happening right now for PAC students, we're going to again offer both in-person and virtual summer PAC for students. And this year also we'll be providing what we're calling a virtual bridge to PAC program. And we'll be coming out with some additional details on our bridge to PAC program. But again, that'll be a good opportunity for many students to take advantage of that. For our early childhood special education program, of course, our preschool students do participate in ESY services, and there will also be both virtual and in-person options for our preschoolers. But I wanted to also let you know that we're offering a virtual, what we're calling a Pathways to Preschool program in collaboration with Infant Toddler Connection. So again, that'll be a virtual Pathways to Preschool program, and we'll be providing, again, very soon some additional information regarding that program. But we're really excited. We're in the beginning stages of hiring our administrators and our teaching staff to participate in ESY. It's a big undertaking. We anticipate a large number of students that are going to be participating this year. We've had up to 3,000 students involved during our summer programming. And I know our teachers, many of them are very excited about our summer offerings and the opportunity to continue the great work and the learning that's taken place during the school year and to be able to provide that during the summer. So again, I just wanted to give you some brief updates, and now I'll turn things over to Dr. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom, and thank you, Dr. Strong, for those ESY and recovery services updates. The last summer update that we want to provide is just to share with you that we will be, we collectively, FCPS, will be offering an expanded summer school program that's available to all students. So that the programs that Mike and Jane just shared were specific to students with disabilities based on determinations from the IEP team. But our expanded summer school program option is available to students and families that have that interest for students to attend. This summer, our summer programs will be expanded. We will be providing math and literacy support at our elementary and middle school levels through a variety of programs, a Bridge to Kindergarten program, a Bridge to First Grade program, math and literacy acceleration and young scholars at the elementary level, middle school math and literacy acceleration and young scholars at the middle school level. And then at the high school level, we will have credit recovery. And that recovery is not to be confused with recovery services, but this is an opportunity for students who may not have completed their courses during this year. We know that this school year has presented a number of challenges and nuances whereby students may have had difficulty completing their coursework as they typically would have. So this credit recovery option gives students the opportunity in the high school level to earn those credits towards their diploma. And so we share that information with you because we want to ensure that all students and all families and all staff are aware of these programmatic offerings so that you will be able to select opportunities that best meet your needs. And as Jane shared in the opening, we want to make sure that staff and students and families know that from the various programs that were overviewed on this evening, the overall summer school program that I'm sharing, very high level information with you, the recovery services that Dr. Strong spoke about, and the ESY program or extended school year that Mr. Bloom spoke about. If the IEP team identifies a student and determines that a student would be eligible for recovery services and or ESY, and that particular student wanted also to engage in the expanded summer offerings that are available to all students, that student would have the opportunity to do so. And our school-based IEP teams will work collaboratively with families to identify when those other services would be provided. So again, really want to reiterate that it's not an if or then scenario for our families and for our students, that we want to work collaboratively to ensure that all students get what they need. Also at this time, and I know that I added something onto our agenda, but Dr. Strong, if you can just provide a brief update, or Mr. Bloom, a brief update of where we are relative to the parent handbook and any other updates. Mr. Bloom, you may want to also provide an update regarding the where we are with Ross Green and some of the supports and professional development that he'll be providing.
Okay, thank you. So I want to give you all the good information, the good news that our special education parent handbook is live on the web. So it is designed as a web-based handbook. And the easiest way to find it is to use our search feature for the website and just type in Special Education Parent Handbook, and you will go to the first page. There you will also see a PDF copy of the handbook should you want to have that and save it and use it that way. We have printed the handbook in English and Spanish, and we are working on translations of some of the other most frequently requested languages. some of our parents have informed us that, you also can use Google Translate. There's some other technological ways that are really great for accessing the handbook. If you need the parent copy, I see Amanda put in the chat, that's great, that the print copies, we have a limited number, but we did print many, expecting that there are some families who need or want the print copy. You contact our Parent Resource Center and they distribute the parent copy for you, or the print copy of the parent handbook for you. And so we are continually taking a look at how accessible that handbook is. When it's on the web, it has been looked at for accessibility by anybody with any sort of sensory need. The PDF version is a little bit harder, but still should be fairly well accessible. We had our IT folks take a look at that, and we're continuing to tweak a few things. But the good news is the handbook is up on the web, and it is an excellent resource. Please ask the Parent Resource Center or anybody at a school or myself if you have any questions about the parent handbook. So, Mr. Bloom.
Thanks, Dr. Strong. So yes, I wanted to give everyone an update on our collaboration with Dr. Ross Green. So if you don't know, last springtime, right before the pandemic hit, we were in collaboration and communication with Dr. Green to come into Fairfax County and provide some initial training to our school administrators, and then develop a more comprehensive plan for bringing his collaborative and proactive solutions model into Fairfax County. And when the pandemic hit, it sort of put the halt on some of those plans. And then of course, through the fall, we worked very collaboratively with SEPTA in the development of our new policy around restraint and seclusion. And so in December, I reconnected with Dr. Green, and he was very excited. I know he had an opportunity to meet with SEPTA and answer some questions and talk a little bit with this group. And since then, I've been able to, again, speak with Dr. Green on a number of occasions where we've done some planning for Fairfax County schools. And so one of the things that I wanted to let you know is that we do have a training date set with Dr. Green. So on April 19th, shortly after we return back from spring break, Dr. Green will be meeting with a number of school-based administrators, which will include principals and assistant principals. What Dr. Green wanted to do was he really wanted to hear the voice of our administrators. Now that our new policy has gone into effect around restraint and seclusion, and ultimately our goal in Fairfax County is to reduce and eliminate instances of physical restraint and seclusion. And keeping that in mind, Dr. Green wanted an opportunity to hear from our administrators and to talk a little bit about the things that impact them in the classroom, in the school building, how this new policy will impact the work that they do in schools with our children, and really gain some insights regarding the things that keep them up at night and how they can best support students, all students within their school buildings. And so one of the goals was to meet with administrators, but Dr. Green also felt that it was important to hear the teacher voice. And so what he's also going to be doing the afternoon of April 19th is we're going to be meeting with a select group of teachers and instructional assistants who will also have an opportunity to dialogue with Dr. Green around the impact of the new policy on their role as educators in the schools, talk a little bit more about their fears, their hopes, how they work and move forward in supporting students in their roles as teachers and instructional assistants. And again, this information will be extremely helpful in developing a more comprehensive countywide plan to bring collaborative and proactive solutions to Fairfax County schools. We know that it's going to involve general education teachers and students, as well as special education teachers and students. Dr. Green would also like an opportunity before April 19th to meet with our behavior intervention teachers, our ABA coaches, our other behavioral support personnel in central office. Again, just to make sure, because those are the individuals who support our schools on a daily basis around the work that they do with children. And we want to make sure that we're providing a consistent message, a consistent approach, and there's a clear understanding of the framework that Dr. Green is going to be introducing to Fairfax County Public Schools. And so after April 19th, Dr. Green would like to meet back with our leadership team here at Fairfax County in our Office of Special Ed and Instruction and start to plan and move forward with some more comprehensive training to scale up collaborative and proactive solutions within the division. And so he's committed to working with Fairfax County. He's very excited to have this opportunity to work with us. We're excited to be able to partner with him. Part of the administrative team that will be meeting on April 19th will also include some administrators from our public day programs. So administrators from Burke School, from Quander Road, Cedar Lane School, from Key and Kilmer Center. And again, we want to not only involve our schools throughout the county, our 200 elementary, middle, and high schools, but also it's important to include our center programs as well. So that's a little bit of an update on where we are with Dr. Green. I'll continue to update this group as we move along in our community, as we move along in our plans. But again, we're very excited to be starting this work and moving forward in a positive direction with Dr. Green.
Thank you very much for all of that information. And I saw, Dr. Boyd, that you've been trying to respond to many of the questions in the chat. I appreciate that from a time-saving perspective. Just peeking at the time really quickly. Were there any questions that you did not get to?
I think the last one, Dr. Strong responded to it regarding the eligibility worksheet for autism. And what we can also do in addition to that is upon our next invite back, we can make that a standing item and prepare, ensure we have additional folks here to address those specific questions that we can follow up. And again, as Ms. Cades shared, we tried to type some responses in the chat. Please don't spell check us. We would type them very quickly. But we wanted to make sure that we could respond to as many of your questions as possible.
Thank you so much for that. And I know that the question about the BCD for autism was one that we had for you as well. So I'm sure we'll be chatting about that one offline also. So thank you everybody for your questions. If you do add more questions into the chat, we are trying our best to copy them over onto a document to hold on to them so that we can pass them back to our guests at a later time and hopefully get some more answers for everybody. Just peeking really quickly. I don't know if you saw that one about, is it possible to record Dr. Green to share with all administrators, even though the school won't be invited? We'll pass all the questions over to you and see if we can get a few more answers there. And then a quick question, Jane, this one might be for you mostly. Recovery services. Is there going to be a form put in C-STARS so that it's certain to be talked about at IEP meetings? That's hopefully a quickie.
Yeah, we have not made any steps toward a new form in C-STARS. Forms development in our electronic platform called C-STARS takes a while, and it wouldn't get implemented in time for this recovery option. Okay. But we are making a lot of steps to make sure that school staff understand how to go about approaching the issue of recovery with students and parents.
And Ms. Cades, if I could add one thing on, and I know we seem to be freezing just a little bit, so I hope you can hear us okay. In addition to the information that Dr. Strong just shared, we even spoke as a team further today to ensure that our outreach extends to all stakeholders. So we will be expanding our outreach to ensure we connect with 3 key stakeholder groups, that being staff, administrators, and families, to ensure that everyone is knowledgeable about what recovery services are. We get that that is something that is brand new this year, and everybody's trying to figure that out along with everything else in this unique time. And so we really want to make sure our outreach is appropriate and the folks have an understanding of the process. And while we know that recovery services may not be appropriate for everyone, we want families to have an understanding of what those services are, so that the initiation for discussion of recovery services just does not rest with staff, that families, inclusive of the students, have an understanding, as well as administrators and staff.
Great. Thank you very much for that piece. And we will certainly, I'm sure, be talking a bit more about recovery services as well. Interestingly, I was on a webinar earlier today with Kennedy Krieger talking about legal issues around special ed and COVID. And since it was Maryland based, they were saying that they use the terms compensatory and recovery interchangeably in Maryland. So it's always fascinating to me the way every state does things a little bit differently. So thank you again for going through some of that with us this evening. All right, we will do our best to capture all these questions and pass them over to you. And we're gonna move ahead. Thank you for your time this evening. I hope you have a good night. It's good to see the 3 of you again.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. All right, so we're going to jump on in and try to move through our business information as much as we can, as quickly as we can, because we really want to have as much time as we can for our community connections part for this evening. So speaking of our community connections, Amanda, if you have a moment and you can put up the poll, that would be wonderful. If not, I think I can do it. We're going to ask everybody to be really patient with us this evening with technology, because we're trying something new with our breakout rooms tonight. So the poll that hopefully you're seeing now says, what breakout room are you going to want to join tonight? And we're just looking to get a ballpark sense of numbers, because we are potentially going to open up an extra room if we have a group that's going to be really big. So you're not going to be wedded to the answer that you're giving now, but it will help us do a little bit of quick behind the scenes work if you can just take a moment and answer this. We selected these groups based on the responses from those of you who filled out our Google survey, so thank you to those who did. We'll just give people another minute or two. All right. Amy, I did see your note there. So, okay. We will consider, we're going to leave this poll open. And, oh, ATS, Assistive Technology Services. So that could be everything from people who use augmented communication to specialized apps for your computers, or lots of other things that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. Let me see. All right, we have 20 of us responding. All right, I think we're pretty good to be able to just holding our room numbers where we are. If things get completely lopsided, we may jump in on our groups and try to split things up a little bit. Thank you for your patience with that poll. I'm going to go ahead and end it at this point. Oh, I didn't show it to you. There we go. Technology. You'd think after a year we would know what we're doing with this. So thank you for your patience again. All right, so interestingly, we don't have anybody saying ADHD, but we had a whole bunch of people saying they were interested in it during our survey. So we'll see what we decide to do here. We also, if there are staff this evening, we had only had, I think, 2 staff members, but if there are staff who are interested in doing a breakout room for staff, if you could just put a comment in the chat and we can see about maybe setting up a room for staff for this evening too. All right, let's jump into our business. The first thing on our agenda is a motion for an amendment to our bylaws. So Amanda has a motion, and we're asking Amanda to do so much multitasking this evening. Are you able to jump in with your motion, Amanda?
Yes, not a problem. I move to amend the bylaws to read, and of course that I don't have in front of me. I was not ready for that. Sorry.
Sorry.
I want to have the exact wording.
Do you want me to come back to you?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
No, not a problem. Allie, I'm going to put you on the spot next. Are you ready, able, willing to jump into our slate?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, I think I just turned on my camera. Hold on, let me share the slides regarding the slate. Let's see. Whoops, everything went haywire on me. Hold on, let me. Zoom got really small on me. I apologize. I'm not sure what you can see and what you can't see. Can you all see the?
We sure can. Yes.
I can't I gotta stop sharing results. I see your poll over my thing. Let me see if I can close that. Okay. Hello, everybody. So, apologies. My name is Allie Baldessari, and I served as the chair of the nominating committee this year. My fellow nominating committee members were Diane Cooper Gold and Kathy Grulich. So we are very pleased to announce our slate. We were pleased to know that all of our current executive board members were eligible to return this year and wanted to return, because you can serve 3 years in a single office. And Michelle Cades would be returning for a 3rd year as president, and Rich Helm for a 3rd year as treasurer. Amanda Campbell has served 1 year as the vice president. Stephanie Smith, her 1st year as the secretary. I'm going to move forward to a quick bio. And by the way, we, as a nominating committee, we just want to note that we all felt very strongly about the performance of our current executive board. One reason why we were happy to put them forth again, and glad they were willing to serve. And also for those 2 members that only served the 1 year, as I mentioned, Amanda and Stephanie, you know, they didn't get to serve the year they would have because of COVID. So this was certainly not a normal year. I know I don't have a lot of time for this. Whoops, my slide didn't advance. It still didn't advance. Sorry, because I have bios on these people that I'm. Hello. Okay. All right. That's not working. Nothing's working. You know, stop. Let's try a new share. Let me pause the share here. Oh, wait a minute.
Take your time, Allie. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
Truly, it's okay.
Okay. It should just be the arrow button normally to advance slides. It's not working, and the escape button's doing nothing for me. So I'm going to resume share, pause share, stop share. How about that? Okay, and
I'll see if I can pull it up on mine also.
yeah. Okay, we'll do this again. At least I know this is the next bio here. Okay, so we should have Michelle Cades' bio here. Nice big picture. Okay, which I'll let everyone read on their own, I guess, for the most part. But she's certainly, I wanted to highlight the fact that SEPTA has won 3 awards under Michelle's presiding over as president. And you can read the specifics of her background and education and children. We'll go on to our next candidate, which I apparently have to stop and do all again the same way I did before. Again, still having trouble. Apparently I can't present in present mode. Okay, here we go. Can everyone see that? Should be Amanda's over Zoom share. There we go. Okay, so we have Amanda Campbell's bio here, our candidate for vice president. And so I did want to highlight this year under Amanda's leadership, she was heavily involved in state level advocacy, as you can read about there. And she did also author 2 resolutions that we adopted as SEPTA resolutions, but were very, very recently, as of I think this past weekend, adopted as Virginia-wide resolutions, and they will be submitted for national PTA resolutions next year. Next bio. Sorry, I'm not doing this in the best way. I don't know.
It is fine.
What's going on here? Next bio. There we go. I just need to share again, share screen. Okay, did that come up? I can't see if you can see that or not. I apologize.
It came up, but as the seeing your whole screen, not. It's very small.
Apologize. We'll stop that share and share screen. Share screen. Yeah, I want to share a tab. Oh, I think I'm sharing my whole screen again, huh?
You are, but it's okay. You can go on.
Okay, so our next candidate, Rich Hem for treasurer, has some, I wish you could see his bio. He has some very impressive background for treasurer, over 20 years of senior management experience working in the nonprofit association industry, responsible for multi-million-dollar annual capital and operational budgets. And he also, prior to being a SEPTA treasurer, had been had 2 years of as a treasurer for the Michigan State Alumni Association of Washington, where he also served as president for 2 years. Oh, Michelle, thank you, Michelle. Okay.
Don't know if I'll be able to get it back, but no problem.
I don't want to take time away from it. Okay, we'll move on to the final and last candidate, which is Stephanie Smith as secretary. So she would be returning for a 2nd year as secretary. I will just go ahead and let you quickly peruse her bio online, but she has made a very good secretary for us this year. I'll give you a couple minutes to look at that and then say thank you to everyone for your time. And that the vote is at the April meeting where we we will take nominations from the floor as well. For the vote for executive board.
All right. Allie, thank you very much for all of the work that you and your committee put into that. Thank you for putting together the beautiful slides, and thank you for your patience with trying to share them. I am so ready for us to be back in person. All right, so that is our slate. And again, keep an eye on your email. You will be getting information about that eventually. Amanda, we're going to jump back to you for our motion on bylaws.
Thank you. Sorry, everybody. Lots of tech behind the scenes tonight.
It's fine.
So the official motion is I move to amend our bylaws to read, officers shall be elected at a general membership election meeting in the month of April/May. We sent out emails about this starting in February 17th, to satisfy the 30-day notice for our membership. The original bylaw that we are looking to amend currently reads, officers shall be elected at the general membership election meeting in the month of April. So the only change is adding the /May. So that's the motion.
All right, do we have a second? If somebody would like to second, please just unmute yours. Oh, we got a couple seconds. Thank you. All right, we have Sarah seconding. And Amanda, do you have any discussion you want to add to the motion?
Just as I said, it's just to add the /May. This is for flexibility in scheduling, as our bylaws call for 30 days before the election, the slate has to be announced, and at least 30 days before that, the nominating committee has to be formed. So doing this allows us a little bit of flexibility in planning the calendars for each year.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this amendment? We are not going to vote on it this evening because we need to do this as a member vote. So we're going to be emailing out a Google form for the election, for this amendment. Does anybody have any questions about it? It goes into effect during the next cycle, is that correct?
It will need to be approved by Virginia PTA before it goes into effect. So yeah, yes, because I doubt that they can approve it in time for the current election year.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you for that. We will be sending out an email to all of our members to vote on that amendment. We also are looking for 3 people for a quick and dirty job, which is getting to be on our teller committee. Anytime that we do a vote, we're supposed to have people who are officially our vote counters. And since Google Forms makes it really easy, all that you would be doing is verifying that the people who voted are members and that they only voted once. So we do need 3 people to be on our teller committee. It's a really easy, pretty pain-free way of starting to put a foot in. So we have Kate. Thank you. Kim, Holt, and Sarah. Outstanding. All right. Thank you. Wonderful. That takes care of that. All right. Moving on with our agenda. Doing a quick time check. We're looking pretty good here. I wanted to congratulate us on winning another award, this time from the Virginia PTA for Outstanding Local PTA Advocacy. That award was just announced and awarded the other day on Saturday. In addition to that, at the Virginia PTA meeting, our own Diane Cooper Gould won for the Virginia PTA Outstanding Child Advocate Award that went to an individual person, and our Diane won. She was unable to join us this evening. It's her daughter's birthday, but if you're in touch with Diane, please feel free to shoot her a congratulations. It's a really exciting deal. Also want to give a special thank you to Amanda, who at our last meeting shared with everybody about the resolutions that we were putting forward to the state. Those resolutions passed and potentially are now going to be moving on to national PTA. So Amanda put in a lot of work to be getting those resolutions written and organized and presented them beautifully. And so thank you very much again, Amanda, and thank you to everybody who supported all of our work over the course of the year. All right, coming up next is Not an April Fool's. We have 2 important things happening on April Fool's Day that are not April Fool's. The first one is our next round of mini grants are going to be due. Those are grants for FCPS staff, and we are delighted to give away our money. As you probably know, your dues and any fundraising that we collect primarily go towards our mini grants, and we've been slowly but surely giving away chunks of money, and our next deadline is on April 1st. Also on April 1st, our applications will close for nominations for our annual awards ceremony. This is also a really big deal program that we pull off every year, and this is your chance to recognize staff, community members, student advocates who support students with disabilities. We have a ton of categories, and those nominations are going to be open until April 1st. And if you would like to, again, get involved and help us out, we are certainly looking for help for people to be reading and evaluating and rating the nominations that are coming in. If you are interested in helping us, you can send an email to Jen Beneke, and her email is, and I'm putting it in the chat right now, awards@Fairfax County SEPTA.org. So we are always eager to have more people jumping in to get involved. So please feel free to volunteer and help us out with pulling off our awards program. All right, finally coming up on Wednesday, April 14th, we have our next ACSD meeting. Allie is our liaison, so you'll get to see and hear her smiling face and voice. That's at 7 o'clock on April 14th. And our next general membership meeting is going to be on Tuesday, April 27th, also at 7 o'clock. That is everything that I have on my agenda before we break into community connections. Board members, was there anything else that I left off? Feel free to unmute and jump in. But I think that we got everything covered. So here's what we're going to be doing. Amanda, go ahead.
Michelle, we just have a question in the chat. Somebody's asking what ACSD is. For those who are present in the meeting or watching on YouTube who may not know that acronym, that is the Advisory Committee for Students with Disabilities. It is known in other districts across Virginia as a SEAC, a Special Education Advisory Committee. It is a state mandated committee that meets here in Fairfax. It meets once a month.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And that committee has representatives that are appointed by school board members from each district, as well as liaisons from some key stakeholder groups and other organizations. So we are delighted that we have a seat at that table as well. All right, we are going to attempt something new. So thank you to everybody who's been hanging with us so far. We're going to jump into some breakout rooms. We really want to give everybody the opportunity to connect with one another. And the other big piece for us is that we really would like communication to be a two-way street. We want to be hearing from you all what's going on the ground, and what is going well, and what we can do to help better meet your needs also. So we're going to be putting up for you our breakout rooms. Here's my handy dandy screen share, but we also have it. It's going to come up on the screen. So room 1 is going to be ADHD. Room 2, is going to be discussion on autism. Room 3 will be twice exceptional. 4 will be procedures, IEP eligibility. 5 will be related services and ATS, assistive technology. And 6 is going to be for staff. And we have SEPTA board members who have offered to moderate the different groups' discussions. So thank you very much in advance to our board members who will do that. And they have an outline that they'll be following, but hopefully we'll have time for additional conversation as well. And then when we are done with our breakout groups, and they should pop up on the screen in a minute or so, then we will give everyone the opportunity to come back together again and call it an evening. So that's the plan. Before we break out, if anyone has any questions about process for this evening, please throw them into the chat.
Or any questions in general. The live stream is still going for the moment. I will cut off the live stream as soon as we go into breakout rooms, as soon as I press the open all rooms button.
Okay. Amanda, you want to hit that button, or you want me to do it?
I'll do it when we're ready. Do we have any questions? Are we good?
We are good. So let's open up our breakout rooms and see how this works.
Thank you to all who have been joining us on our YouTube feed. We will see you at a future event. Have a good night.